This is the Grapple of Your Eye Show, episode 42, Alice Blackman. Welcome to the Grapple of Your Eye Show. I am your host, Brett Summers, and my guest this week is a BJJ blue belt and MMA fighter. Please welcome Alice Blackman to the show. So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, our first question, Alice, to anyone who's been on the show for the first time is, where did it all begin for you?
So, when I was younger, I never had a fight. I'd never got into anything like that at school or anything. I was probably the most chilled person that you could find. Always did ballet. I was a ballet teacher. I did it right from when I was really young. So I've always been, and I did like running and swimming and netball, and like I was real athletic. But it wasn't until I was 25 when I got with a guy, and he was a bit of a psycho, not gonna lie. Um, and for ages after the relationship ended, I was real like nervy and just like really worried, if I'm honest. Like it really like fucked me up a little bit. And I used to worry about my safety because I would never have been able to hold my own against anyone. I wouldn't have even known what to do if someone So I got talking to this guy, and he was like, "Oh, I do MMA and Swanmore, so you should come and do it for self defense." So I started doing it for self defense, and it was hilarious because I've never thrown a punch. Like I didn't understand how to throw a punch. Um, and
What was it like then? So just going, what was it like then for someone who's never done anything? I mean, you've done ballet, so you've got an idea of a routine and there's a regime to that. I've never done it, but I know the physical demand of it. But from that to then walking into an MMA gym for the first time, that's the biggest thing. A lot of people, male and female, have that problem doing that. First time actually walking into the gym is
yeah,
probably people's biggest hurdle. How was that for you?
well, it was actually quite scary because I used to be quite an anxious person anyway, but because I run a pub, my family run a pub, so I wasn't able to go with the classes. So actually, quite luckily, I just arranged with the coach to go and do like a private session. So it was, and he was so nice and so chilled and like no judgments or anything. And I'm quite an awkward person. So when I was like laughing at myself, he would also laugh, and like it wasn't like really strict. So that really helped with the whole situation because in my gym it's just guys. So I think that if I had gone straight into the classes, I wouldn't have been able to, like I would have literally been, terrified to do that. Because when he did say after a while we started doing loads, he was like, you should come to the classes because you learn a lot with the classes. Because in the privates that we did, it was just sort of stand up, just striking, and like a little bit of self defense. And he was like, "You should learn some jiu-jitsu because obviously jiu-jitsu is the best." Um, but yeah, after a while, after a few months of just doing a couple of privates every week, I went to the classes to do jiu-jitsu, and I was honestly terrified. Like it was so scary, but and also it's not like a massive gym with loads of people. It's just like 10 guys, but in a way that made it so much better because everyone's so nice. Like in this whole in jiu-jitsu in general, like everyone is just so nice and everyone respects each other so much. And even if someone's brand new, you love it for them, you know? And that's the thing. Like, even though it's scary to go in, when you go in, you realize it's not scary. Do you know what I mean? And just the more and more you go, you realize that it's just like this little family rather than like terrifying MMA fighters. Um, but yeah, so then after I would say probably like, I don't know, 6 months to a year, my coach was like, "Hey Alice, you want to do a fight?" And I was like, "What?" Like, but I'm not really one to say no to things. So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it." Did it. Hilarious. I literally, when I was going into the fight, right, they opened the doors and I turned around to my coach and was like, "What am I doing? Where am I going? Like, what is happening right now?" Um, but it was the best thing I've ever done. And I came out and I lost on the ground. It wasn't a bad loss either. Like, looking back, I wasn't hurt. It was like ground and pound, but at the time, it wasn't hurting me. And I was just sort of sat there like, whatever, the timer will go in a minute. And the ref was like, "You need to do something." And I was like, right, okay. So it wasn't a bad loss, but it was the best thing I've ever done. Honestly, I came out like, this is what I want to do forever. Um, and then, yeah, it kind of just snowballed from there. And I'm a bit of an all or nothing person. So
Yeah.
I just made it my life, you know?
Fair
Um,
enough. But that's quite a jump though. So, you getting the courage to go into the class to start with, and then like sort of within a year, you're then stepping into an octagon, into a
Do you know what I
cage.
mean?
You
Like,
know, like
no into clubs, nothing. But to be
have you done
honest,
any like BJJ tournaments in between or anything like that? Just sort of like
not
some
at
or
that
into clubs
time.
or anything.
Do you know, at that time, I'd basically done like no jiu-jitsu. Like, I literally didn't know what I was doing on the floor. And even for, I would say, my first three fights, I literally didn't have a clue what I was doing on the floor. I had no idea. It was like origami. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just like a different language. And at the beginning, I didn't really like jiu-jitsu. I loved the striking, I loved the wrestling, but the jiu-jitsu, it was just like a different language to me, and I couldn't understand it. But it wasn't until my third fight I went against a purple belt, and I remember thinking, just don't get taken down. Like, we were like, just do not, whatever you do, get taken down. Anyway, I got taken down. And I defended it for so long. And it wasn't until it was actually the last second of the second round where I got into an armbar. And because I didn't really do jiu-jitsu, I didn't know how to defend it, and I panicked, if I'm honest, and I just tapped. But coming out of that, we were like, right, if we actually make a go at this, we can be really good. So that's when I first like started taking it really, really seriously, and that's when I started doing jiu-jitsu as jiu-jitsu rather than just sort of getting up when I can. And then about, I would say, so that was 2021, the beginning of, and then I started doing jiu-jitsu competitions. So I started just doing like not many at all. I think I did like two or three in 2021, and then after that 2000 oh no, I lied to you, completely lied, it was 2022. So by the end of 2022 I was like, right, let's go jiu-jitsu, and then I've just sort of been focusing on that. And then I got really injured in the beginning of 2024. So I was out for like 6 months with a shoulder injury. Got thrown over in wrestling, just, usual stuff. But then after that, when I came back, we were like, right, we're just doing jiu-jitsu. Like, fuck off MMA. Sorry to swear. Like, we're just gonna focus on jiu-jitsu, really, really make a go of that. And it's got my game so much better. Like, the last MMA fight I had, I went against like this amazing purple belt. She was literally incredible at jiu-jitsu, kept pulling guard and all sorts. But I got out all the submissions and I held my own and I won the fight. So, like, it's come a long way. And do you know what? Since I've started really focusing on it, I love it. I literally love it. And I know that even if this MMA thing, because obviously you can't do it forever, and I started late, so I'm going to get as far as I can get. But then I know that after that, my life will be jiu-jitsu. So, it's great.
What is it then? What changed from something where you were just doing jiu-jitsu, like you say, you fall in love with it now? What did it need? What did it take for you to sort of get that? Was it like an understanding of it? Was it a
Yeah,
necessity of it? What was it that suddenly made it? Because some people sort of do a bit of everything and they sort of stick with that, whereas other people kind of focus on one thing. Like you say, for you, it was more the MMA stand-up part first, and the jiu-jitsu was there as a kind of I
yeah,
need to know a bit of it, but it's all
yeah.
right. But now, what was it that sort of brought it to life for you?
Well, I think when you do MMA, jiu-jitsu, you do it for MMA. So, it's like you said, it's something alongside it. But I started doing a lot of jiu-jitsu competitions, like literally this year, and when I wasn't injured in 2024, I was doing like one competition a week. Like every Saturday, I would go somewhere. And it wasn't until then that I really like started to understand jiu-jitsu for what it was, rather than just the MMA back like base. And you realize that it's like a whole art. And I started to go to jiu-jitsu gyms because my gym is literally incredible, and for MMA couldn't think of anywhere better. But they're just massive guys, if I'm honest. Like the smallest guy is still like 20 kg heavier than me. So
Yeah.
when you're doing jiu-jitsu, it's very different. So I started traveling to other gyms and where they just literally just do jiu-jitsu, and I just realized how much more there is to it. And we're actually doing Europeans and Worlds this year. So I'm trying to like understand it more. And yeah, also I think with jiu-jitsu, it kind of just clicks. Like there's the basics. When you understand the basics, you can then like grow from that. Whereas like, yeah, so once you
Yeah,
understand that like the core
brick by
foundation,
brick sort of thing.
core
Yeah.
basics, it suddenly starts to make sense and you're all right. Whereas at the beginning, I was just sort of like rolling around trying not to get tapped out. Whereas now I understand it as like its own thing. Do you know what I mean?
I totally get you. So, what then would you say?
Hello.
Because with jiu-jitsu at the moment, there's been um, quite a growth in it, and with grappling tournaments and things like that as well in the UK, the UFC, BJJ, and all that sort of thing now is all jumping on board with it all. I mean, as a female like grappler and fighter, how has
Yeah.
that impacted on you? Is there more opportunities now? Are things growing out more? How are you finding that compared to say when you started?
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, so when I first started doing the competitions, you would apply for a register for a competition and there would be like maybe one person in your category, whereas now, especially abroad, I've really noticed like the UK not so much. There's still only a couple of people in your bracket, but if you go abroad, like Amsterdam's my favorite place to go grappling because honestly the level is unbelievable. Like the girls are so good and there's so many people, and like so many competitions now do this round robin. So even if you've only got three people in your division, you still get loads of matches because you each go with each other and stuff. And there's just so many more girls now. Like honestly, I have like 13 matches sometimes. Obviously, I do like gi, no gi, and absolute, but to get that many matches is just unbelievable. Whereas at the beginning, I literally would get like I'd travel to wherever to get one match and think, what is the point? And also, it's not just the BJJ competitions; it's and also yeah. So there's also like massive female only grappling competitions now, and they're so great. Like they really reach out to you and they do open mats and things like that, just females, which like I don't mind grappling with guys, that's all I do anyway, but they it's nice to be able to go with females, especially your size. And it's the same with the MMA world. Like, there's so many girls now that are picking it up or have heard of it. Whereas at the beginning, when I first said to people that I do MMA, they were like, "What? What even is that?" But now it's like, I do MMA. Yeah, cool. I know that. Or I've done jiu-jitsu, or I've done taekwondo, or there's so many options for people to do now. And I think it's so great, you know. Like I said earlier, it's like a community, I think. And also, once you start going to these different gyms, then they have contacts, and the female community is unbelievable, you know.
I think it's I think it's definitely helped the female side of the sport out as well as I know recently there's been that campaign as well about the getting the more weight categories for female grapplers as well because
Yeah.
I mean it could be something for the men as well really because it gets to a point and then anything above that is something else. And as someone who's on the sort of super to ultra heavyweight side, sometimes like who you're against can be anyone from someone who's like a couple of kilos heavier to you than like Brock Lesnar because there's no
Yeah.
upper limit. It just goes
Yeah.
up, and it's sort of, when you're sort of a guy who's a teacher by day and trying to, make a go of it as BJJ, and then you come up against a guy who's training for the Olympics or whatever, and
Yeah.
is normally 20 years younger than you because no one your age is mad enough to do it as well. Yeah, no, it's often interesting for me. So I can imagine for the female side of it as well, of because it just cuts off at a certain point, and there's not been that much representation on it. I think that's been a big movement. I mean, what have you seen on that sort of side of it?
Yeah, so I know a couple of people, a couple of fighters who they really struggle because they're lighter, so they want to fight at atom weight, but obviously not many places do atom weight. So the lowest they'll go is 52, but I mean I'm 52 and I'm not small, so it is really hard for girls. Like they've introduced the atom weight and they're doing it and things, but there's still just not that many people doing it. There is more so in grappling, like the lighter there's seems to be more people lighter than there are my sort of weight. But yeah, they are introducing these other weight categories, which is really great because I do know how hard it is. Like I fought people at 60 kg, because I like walk around at probably 58. So, and there was a girl who could do 60 kg, and at the time there wasn't really any girls to go against. It was kickboxing, I think. And I was like, yeah, cool, I'll go against her. And the difference in size and strength is unbelievable. So I know that to have to fight above your weight because there aren't any other girls is really shit. So it is really great that they're introducing these new, and I think it's just going to grow and grow and grow. Like, I think, yeah, I think they're just going to introduce more and more because there aren't very many like heavier weights. For females, which I think is, yeah, totally unfair because then if you're not that heavy and then you've got to go against a girl like super super heavy, like it makes a massive difference, you know. But yeah, it's all coming along like really really recently as well. So I feel so lucky to be sort of starting it at this sort of time where it's getting bigger, because you feel like you're really
No,
making a difference,
definitely.
you know?
Because I mean, I can remember we were saying just before we went on. I can remember like go back 20 odd years ago, and if you had a female match on the show, it was and it was almost like it was, yeah, we've let them have a match,
Yeah,
aren't we great,
yeah,
that sort of thing, almost
yeah,
like a, not like, I don't want to say like a sideshow because it wasn't like that, but it was almost that kind of, here's
yeah,
the
it was,
naughty acts
yeah,
before the break, kind of
yeah,
thing. And now
yeah.
it's like well, like I say, you got
I know.
females got their own competitions, everything now in pay-per-views and all sorts. So yeah, that's definitely come on. Yeah, you're at sort of at the time of the revolution, I guess, or whatever you want to call it
Yeah,
this time.
yeah, it's really
That's
nice.
good. Go on back to yourself then. So you've got the MMA ongoing, and
Yeah,
obviously you've got fights coming up. You've got the BJJ ongoing,
yeah,
and you said you're working as well. How do you balance that? Because a lot of people listening to this, I said myself, I'm a school teacher by day, and there's a few times I've missed classes in the evening because it's just like either I'm just knackered or I've got 20 books to mark or
yeah.
life gets in the way, and whatever. I mean, how are you?
I mean,
What's your secret? What do you
you
do?
know, to be honest, it's been very hard journey, if I'm honest. Like it really has been hard at the beginning when so my family own a pub. My mum sold up her house and was like, right, let's buy a pub. Because yeah, whatever. And best decision. Like it's great. It's a restaurant. It's lovely. It's amazing. Like we've made it into something unbelievable. But when it came to the MMA, it was a very hard start because I had to start missing work. I had to start, like, I do the rotors and stuff, but it doesn't make it any easier because if you can't cover the shift, you've got to cover it. And at the end of the day, the pub is the number one thing because it enables me to do everything. And it's like my family's livelihood. So I can't just say, all right, see you later then. Like, not in this industry. You can't do that. So
Yeah.
my brother does the kitchen, I do the front of house. So we basically run it, me and my brother. So it's been very hard. And at the beginning, I used to miss classes and things like that. But now, when I started competing, I was like, I'm going to chill out a little bit at the pub. I'm not going to do so many hours because I was doing like 12, 12, 6 days a week. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't cope with it. And at the beginning, I used to, so I used to have a split between 3 and 6, and I used to start at 11 or 12. So in the morning, I would train, and then I would go to work, and then I'd go back to the gym at 3, train, and then go back to work. And then depending on what time I finished, I would try and go back after that. But as you can imagine, as you start getting better and you're competing more and you're picking up weights and things like that, it's very hard to do that. So I was like, I'm gonna take more, like, a little bit more of a backseat, like take some shifts off. And at the end of the day, as long as the pub is going well and everything's great, then that's cool. But saying that, it is very hard still because people call in sick, like reality gets in the way. And yeah, sometimes I have to miss training, but to be honest, on the days that I train on those days. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will do everything in my power to be able to do that. A lot of the time I travel to different gyms. So I go to Brighton at Elements, or I go to New Wave, or I go to Keddles a lot. And those are the things that I have to, if I have to drop one a certain week, I'll drop that because that's sort of just like an added extra. And if I can't go every week, it's not that much of a deal. Like, I train enough. But saying that, it is still really hard. Like, to run a pub, obviously, it's a lot of stress. Like, that's the hardest part, is the stress of
Like,
it.
definitely comes with that from the work side of it to the customer side of it, and especially I can imagine the hecticness of a busy food day as well, stuff like that. From
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
done a bit behind the bar, so I can imagine. Yeah,
yeah. And it's just like the staff's well-being and, the financial side of it, and the making sure that it's all going well. And, oh, we got a complaint. Why are we getting complaints? Blah, 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 blah. New menus, new everything. Like, there's a lot to it. But we've got a really great team there, and my brother is literally amazing with it. Like, never once does he ever complain that I do this. He was actually the one that said at the beginning, because I was like, I can't do it because of work. And he was the one that was like, you have to do this. Like, you love it, you enjoy it. But the trouble was, at the beginning, I lost so many fights. Like, my stand up fights, I would lose quite a lot. Not badly, I didn't ever get hurt, and they were very close decisions, but I was losing. So it was very hard to say to people, oh, I'm taking time off work for this. And my what I've had in my head from day one is, I'm going to be the best in the world. I'm going to be a UFC champion. Like, that's all I used to say. And everyone used to be like, Alice, what are you saying? Like, get to reality. But I was like, no, I'm going to do it. But then, yeah, like I said, to then miss work and have a bit of, like, a lot of stress for something that people couldn't see that vision, because Alice is doing MMA. What the hell? She never even had a fight before. Like, she said she's going to be champion. Like, I get it, but it was hard. But now it's not so hard. And I just take it a little bit more on the chin. Like, we've done the pub, we've had it for 10 years. So, cool, someone can't come into work, no worries, I'll sort it out. And do you know what? That mindset, oh, the oven's on fire. I mean, it's not, but like, you just deal with
yeah.
it. I truly believe that shaped my mindset for the MMA, because anything comes my way, yeah, cool, she's a purple belt. I've never even done jiu-jitsu. No worries, I'll deal with it. I think that is a mindset that you have to be able to cope with, because things happen, you get injured, people, I don't know, there's many things that happen in the MMA jiu-jitsu world, but you have to just learn to deal with it. Um, so I think, yeah, it's although it's been very hard and very stressful with both things, I think it's done me a world of good, to be honest. And also, if you really love something and you really want to find the time for it, you will find the time for it. Like everyone said to me, "Oh, I don't have time. Oh, I don't have time." And I think I literally don't have the time. Yeah, I'm finding the time because I want to do it. So I think if you want to do something, you've just got to do it. You just got to put your mind to it, find the time and deal with it, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. So without giving away any of your trade secrets as a fighter and grappler, I mean, have you got? Is there a set routine that you're doing, or a set diet, certain thing? You know, you're running certain amount of miles, are you doing certain routines at the gym? If there's something,
Yeah.
how are you sort of complimenting yourself off the mat as well as on the mat?
So actually, it wasn't until I got injured actually, where I couldn't do any combat. I couldn't do any contact at all. So that's when I was like, right, I'm gonna smash the weights. My coach was like, let's do weights. Like for the next 4 months, while you can't do anything, we're just gonna do loads of weights. And I got really, really into it, and I really, really realized how important weights are. So now I have a weights guy, strength and conditioning guy, Jordan from Adapt. Like there is a very new one, and they're great. Like they are literally great because they're jiu-jitsu as well. So they understand jiu-jitsu life. And if I can't keep up with something 1 week, he's like, this is just a secondary thing. Super nice, super chilled. But I get a program from him. So I do that every week because I realize now how important that is. Um, which I wish I had done at the beginning, but you don't realize. And my nutrition, I haven't ever been very good at it. Like I'm a vegan, so I eat healthy anyway.
Yeah.
Eat a lot of veg and things, but I do like some treats, and I do like to. The thing is with the pub as well. There are many days where I used to just not really eat that much, just eat nothing and then binge something in the evening because I haven't had time. Whereas now, my brother actually does my nutrition because he's a nutritionist and he's incredible. And we've actually just started a nutrition business, which is very exciting, next level nutrition. Um, but he's got me onto it, if I'm honest. So, and honestly, this weight cut this time, I feel incredible. I literally feel amazing. I've lost weight by being on more calories. It's blown my mind. And the good thing is with doing it with him is he really explains everything to me.
Yeah.
And and that has increased my performance like I wouldn't ever believe. And it's funny because he's been telling me for 3, 4 years, you need to eat properly. Like that's your problem, Alice. You're tired because you're not eating. You're stressed because you're not eating. So then I was like, it's my brother. So I was like, Rob, shut up. And now I'm like, you had something there, you know. Um, so yeah, I have that as well. So which I would say is the most important thing for anything.
That's really good to hear. 'Cause that was going to bring on to my next point. I mean, there's been a lot, especially in the sort of mixed martial arts world. Well, it's been an ongoing thing. The whole, cutting weight thing. Should people fight at their own weight? Do they weigh in too early? Cutting
Yeah,
weight, is it dangerous? And it does seem to be quite a thing more recently of some people, a lot more people sort of collapsing or killing their. There was UFC a few months back where someone was about to walk through the door and I think she fainted, and
yeah.
it's getting that. But anyway, what's your sort of views on things like from what you sort of see and
Well,
like you said, what the stuff you know and what you've seen around.
I personally don't like weight cuts, and I think that you should all like jiu-jitsu. I think you should just turn up, weigh the category that your bracket is, and fight at that. I truly believe that, but they're not going to change it probably, and whatever. Like it is what it is. So you've
Mm.
just got to deal with it. But I think, do you know, after doing it for so long, I have really realised how important it is for females to realize that females are different from males in so many ways when it comes to weight cuts because my coach is a guy everyone in my gym is a guy. So everyone has always cut weight the same way. They can cut loads of weight, all of this, all of that. And I've done loads of MMA fights. So I've done like 10 fights now. And it's taken me until about now to really understand how I can do it properly as a female. And you have to be more on it. Like you've got hormones and you can't cut as much weight at all as a man. And you've got higher fat percentage. Like there's so many things that go into it, and there's no real research about it at all about female weight cuts. So that's what we're gonna, on our nutrition page, we're gonna post loads about that, because as a female I always Google it, like whatever, and there's just nothing there. So I think girls just need to be a little bit more careful, and they need to be way more sort of organized with it all. So I think they need to either start at a lower weight or get down lower before the weight cut, so then you don't have to cut ridiculous amounts in the bath, because for females to sweat more is hard. It's really hard compared to males. Like it literally like just drops off of them, and I'm sat in the bath like, how is this fair? But it is. You just got to organize it a little bit better. But no, I hate the whole thing. I think it's terrible what you have to do. I really do. I mean, I get the science to it, and once you've got a guy who knows what they're doing that can help, or a girl, then it's a lot easier. But it's still just so rubbish. Like, why are we still doing this? Like,
It's
yeah,
the extremeness of some of it, I think. I don't know if people just think they can do it in the cut. I mean, because you've got professional fighters who are, they've got an hour left because they haven't made weight, and they're in a tinfoil suit on a bike in a sweat gym in a sauna, sweating out. Like they're just trying. It's like you're almost killing yourself or whatever.
yeah,
God knows what they're doing to their bodies. Just to make it because they still haven't
horrible.
done it yet. And it's like, there's going to be long-term damage there. Well, I think
Oh my god,
history's starting
yeah,
to show that.
yeah.
It's
I think
different
it's
people
so
now are
bad.
suddenly like, oh,
And
carry
also,
on.
thing about it is that it's the after bit, isn't it? It's the rehydration, because if you don't do that properly, you're literally screwed, and you're walking into a fight. Like I had a boxing fight. It was actually a title fight, and I had only done like one boxing fight before, so I didn't know that it was the day on weigh-in. So I cut weight for it. But looking back, I think, and my coach literally went off his nut at that. He was just like, "What are you doing? This is so dangerous." Luckily, I was like the last fight of the night, or the second to last fight of the night. So I had loads of time to rehydrate, and I didn't have to cut that much weight. But even so, it's if you don't do the rehydration properly, it's literally the most dangerous thing. And I just don't understand why we're all still doing it. But the problem is if you don't do it, someone's going to do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Do you think? I don't know. Do you think if they changed the way into like the morning of the event, do you think that would change the landscape? Because suddenly people might actually start trying to fight their own weight rather than cutting two or
Yeah.
three weight categories, or do you think it would just
Yeah.
get worse in the long run?
Yeah, no, I think it would definitely be better to do that. And also, the funny thing is that say if I'm fighting at 52, I'm going to cut from say 56, 57, but so is she. So we're both just cutting 6 kg for no reason. Like we're both, you know, it's just ridiculous.
100%. No, it is. I mean, it is. I mean, like you said, it's an ongoing issue that hopefully gets dealt with before more people end up with. Because I think as I say, I think we're at that point now where we're starting to see the long-term damage coming out of that, of the state of sort of retired fighters and things now, and
Yeah.
people collapsing in comas and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Also, like,
But
it's just sport in itself. Like, I just don't see the point of adding all that extra. Like, it's not something that you want to do if you you're worried about your long-term health anyway. So then why are we just making it worse? It's just like it's so outdated. Like fair enough back then, but times are changing. You don't have to do that. And there's research to say how bad this is. And I can guarantee that 99.9999% of the fighters don't want to do it. you know?
It's the new smoking. I think it's the new
Yeah,
smoking. Everyone knew it was bad, but they still did it because it was cool. It's that sort of
yeah,
thing, and it's that everyone knows it's probably going to do something, but it's like, well, I've got to do it because everyone else is, like you say. And
yeah,
I think it's that kind of, it's that sort of thing. Rather than if everyone just said, no, right, we're not doing that no more, then that could be it. But
yeah,
well, hopefully it will get there at some point. But back to yourself then. Though
yeah.
you've said a lot of things about you've got fights coming up. You're thinking about doing worlds or European, sorry, and that as well. Now, what's next for you? What's next on your plan? 'Cause I know there's an imminent fight coming up as we record this. And then
Yes.
what's your plans of sort of world domination from there?
So I've got this fight Saturday, and then I've got my pro fight booked for the 26th of October. So 3 weeks after this fight is a pro fight. And then 2 days after that is Europeans. And then December is Worlds. And then I'm going to go to Purple Belt. So I think that maybe I should have been like Purple Belt's been on the cards for a while, but we really want to do Europeans. We really want to do Worlds. So I'm going to do them. And then we're going to go to Purple Belt and then just continue to grow. I mean, the MMA, I reckon, couple of years I'll be on the UFC. I literally have so much faith in myself, which is funny because I never ever used to have faith in myself, but I do now. Like, it's all coming together. I feel like I've been training for so long, so hard as well. Like, honestly, I never have a holiday. The only holiday I ever take is to go and train in Chicago, which is amazing, by the way. Um, but yeah, and it's all sort of paying off now. We're going pro. We're gonna make some moves. But jiu-jitsu's the one as well. Like I want to make some big moves on jiu-jitsu in the upcoming years. Yeah. So we'll just take it as it comes, really.
I think it's like you say. I think it's the right time for it now because going back years ago, people didn't even look far over here with regards to sort of MMA and fighters. But now with like UFC, there seems to be a new British hope every sort of couple of weeks appearing, like especially like the Contender Series and the
Yeah.
Ultimate Fight. And I mean, Chanel Dyer just went on there and. I mean, she lost the fight, but put in such a performance that she got signed anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing. And I think it's exciting that people are getting those opportunities and people are looking in this direction because
Yeah.
we've been ignored for quite a long time. So no, I think that's a good thing to do. Any other goals or aims for yourself though? Is there any other sort of
Um.
like you say, you put about got all these tournaments. What's the is coaching in your future? Or have you got other sort of
Yeah.
ideas or plans?
Yeah, 100%. So we're starting up this nutrition business, and he's also a PT. So we're gonna, and I'm doing a PT course. So we're gonna start doing that. But ultimately, I would love to start an MMA gym or a jiu-jitsu gym. Like that's my goal for later in life to teach, because when I taught ballet, I absolutely, like, if I could go back and do anything in the world, it would be to teach. Like it gives me a purpose, it really does. And I love just watching kids learn things is just the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. So I would definitely go into coaching 100% after this, after my MMA career. That's the sort of journey that I'd love to do. And I think it wouldn't be hard to do that because I've got a lot of experience in teaching and business, and um, obviously I've got the experience in the jiu-jitsu and MMA now. So I think, yeah, 100% would be love to teach 100%.
So anyone listening to this now, um, male or female, really. I mean, we've covered your journey. If there are people sat there now listening to this, who are thinking like, well, yeah, that's all right for you, but I haven't got enough time, or that's all right for you, but I've got this, or I've never been in a gym, or I haven't done anything before. There's always, like I said, the argument for me is always, I think once they get through the door, they'll be fine. But
Yeah.
it's that first
So
bit. What advice would you give to anyone listening to this now, thinking, oh, I'm not big enough, or I'm not tall enough, or I'm not quick enough, or I'm too old, or I'm too young? There's millions of reasons that we've heard of all over the years. But what advice would you give to anyone?
I would just say that, like, I was honestly the most insecure anxious person and the most placid person. But what you've got to think is that there's so much more to you if you just give something new a go. And to try something new, and if you hate it, never have to go back again, doesn't matter. Um, but you might fall in love with it and find your whole purpose. Like before I started this journey, I used to think, what is the point? Like, what have I got? Like, I had relationships and friendships and things like that, and I wasn't, like in a terrible place. But I did think, what is the point of this world? Like, are we just going along to our 9 to 5 job and doing something? And are we really happy with this? And I used to really, really think that there was something more to it. But since joining the gym, the MMA like community and the jiu-jitsu community, I don't have that anymore, because every day you learn something new, you progress, you meet someone new, and it's literally changed my life. And I don't have time. Like, I honestly don't have time, and I don't have the money, and I don't have the energy. But once you start doing it, and if you fall in love with it, you find that, and it gives you more energy, and it gives you more just like happiness. Like, people say to me now, like, you're so happy all the time, and it's like, yeah, because I found something that is amazing. And even if you go and you're really bad and you lose all your matches, like I did at the beginning, I honestly, people were like, why are you still doing this? But it was because I loved it, and you can't replace that with anything. So I think that if you're brave enough to do something like that, then it literally will pay off a million times.
Wise words, wise words. Now, if anyone is listening to this and they're thinking, I like the sound of Alice Blackman, I want to book her for a show, or I want to book her for a seminar, or whatever else it might be going on, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Instagram, my Instagram's growing, so that's on mm Alice B because it's like
I'll
mm.
link that in the show notes as well. I'll link that in the
Yeah,
show notes so everyone
yeah,
can get onto that. And I'll put the next level Bluetooth in the other links on there as well for everyone that's listening and watching. So if you go to the show notes, you'll be able to find those. And yeah, it's just anything else that you would like to say or address to the world.
no, not really. Just thanks for watching. And, if you're a promoter, get me on your show, because, we're going up in the world. And also, I am looking for sponsors. I really need some help going pro and doing all these stuff. So if anyone fancies a sponsorship deal, get in touch.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you for taking the time this week to join us. I know, as I say, it's a busy fight week for you, and yeah, it's thank you for taking time out of your schedule to do that. So, yeah,
So, thank you for having me.
thank you once again to Alice for joining us this week. I have been your host, Brett Summers, and this brings another episode to a close. If you want to keep up on everything that we've been doing, you can go to our mothership, which is the grapplerride.com. That's got all of our past episodes and all our links and social medias on there. And if social media is your bag, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, bit of TikTok, X, and all the other ones. But our main ones are normally Instagram and a bit of Facebook, to be honest. And if you like to listen to your podcasts, you can get us on Audible, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and all the other places that you can listen to podcasts. If you do listen, if you give us a review and maybe a little few comments on there, those things really do help push us up and make us more visible to other listeners. And if you are on YouTube, you can watch our episodes. New episodes drop every Thursday, 7 a.m. UK time. So, as I say, that brings this week's episode to a close. We'll be back next week with a new guest. So, stay safe and stay on the mats.